Good afternoon, and thank you for tuning in to the CNC Show with your hosts Carl and myself, Cole. We would like to ask you a few questions. When was the last time you needed external motivation to be physically active? Can you remember a time when you didn't want to participate in any activity just because it involved being physically active? Well, studies show that an increasing amount of children aren't able to find the internal motivation to be physically active and rather would just remain sedentary in their leisure time. With an increase in availability and advancements in the electronics field, kids are losing their natural instinct to go out and play. Although this may not come as a shock to you, we would like to further explore the issue as we feel it is becoming more and more relevant to our society.
We interviewed 3 people from different generations to find out what their observations were on physical inactivity, participation in sports, and just general active play. Here's what we found.
Actually, yes, but I can only think of one person.
Physically inactive. Probably not.
About 6 or 7 kids in my class, about 30 kids who are physically inactive.
For activities after school, we would get together after supper, a group of kids, and play all kinds of different games. Kick the can, Red Rover, baseball, sometimes soccer, all kinds of games like that. Occasionally we would go bicycling. But it was just a large group of kids that would get together and play games just about every night.
Kids my age. So, oh my goodness, everything and anything. Whether it's a made-up game involving a ball or a stick or a combination of, we went for walks, we pretended to go fishing because of course there was no fish, but we had made rods out of sticks. We just did stuff, played, make believe, running around, being goofy.
This person was very overweight, so didn't do too much physically, but was very outgoing, happy person, got along well with everybody, and loved to dance. He was very socially active, liked to get mixed with lots of people. When she was alone, I'm not sure what she did. I don't know if she was a reader or maybe a knitter or something like that, but I really don't know.
People that I know of that are physically inactive tend to be kind of shy and don't have lots of friends and like to keep to themselves quite a bit. And most of their friends are also physically inactive. So lots of the kids like to read, and they don't do very much outside of school. A few of them play video games, tend to not do very much other than school.
As you have seen in the interviews, it's becoming more and more likely to see kids without a drive to move. In a study done in 2014 by Healthy Active Kids Canada, we can see that the problem starts at an early age. Despite almost all parents reporting the availability of playing spaces such as parks, pools, rinks, arenas, etc., only 37% of parents reported to have played actively participating with their children. So parents are the first and most influential people in a child's early life. So without sufficient exposure and their supportive activity, children are opting for more sedentary activities in their leisure time. There are startling examples of this trend. In the same study done in 2014, it was reported that 3 to 4-year-olds averaged a daily screen time of 5.8 hours.
The problem starts early indeed, Carl, and compare this to the same study done in 2005, and you'll find that although Canada's numbers were amongst the highest ranked in the world at the time, Only 50% of children back then averaged more than 2 hours of screen time per day. This means that children starting to value that new TV show or beating the next level in their video games more than going out with friends and breaking a sweat while playing. Kids no longer look to sport or play for fun. Expanding on that, here in the pack, actually, if you go just out that door and down the hall, you'll find a blue poster shedding some light on why children play sport, done by SAS Sport.
SAS Sport states that the number one reason children play sports is to have fun. This fulfillment, unfortunately, is being increasingly fulfilled by electronics rather than active play. And speaking of looking at screens wasting time, we decided that Facebook would be a great way to reach out to different demographics in order to acquire insight into internal motivation for physical activity.
After conducting our own online survey involving over 80 participants, we found that 34% of participants were most likely to choose a sedentary activity during their leisure time. This means that roughly 1 in every 3 participants would rather choose to watch TV or read or play video games than play actively with the other 66% of the participants. Furthermore, 16% of the participants said that the least likely thing they would do is something involving physical activity. This means that participants are making an active choice to be sedentary and not participate in an active lifestyle. Do these numbers surprise you? If they do, then we have to tell you that if the trend continues, you and future generations will get used to seeing an increase in the number of children who lack the motivation to play sports, or worse yet, lack the internal motivation to simply play actively at all.
It's becoming easier than ever for kids to just stay at home, watch TV, play on their video games, and play on their smartphones. But are these devices really the only problem? From personal experiences, I haven't seen many boys or girls that don't have a favorite TV show or that don't have a favorite video game. I think the key and the problem really starts at an early age when the child starts to value their screen time more than playing actively with their friends. It's almost like following a healthy diet.
That's right. Everything in moderation is key.
Mm-hmm.
We can't solely point the finger at screen time because the problem can be traced back further to parenting. We can't expect the children to develop their own physical literacy without the exposure or motivation from parents or other role models in the child's life.
Yes, and let's face it, when most of us were kids, we couldn't care less about what being healthy meant. We just played and moved around because it was fun. We loved doing it. As we mentioned earlier, it's becoming harder and harder to convince some children that playing actively is fun because they're looking elsewhere to fulfill that need. If they don't play for fun, I think they should at least be playing for their health.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you once again for joining us here on the CNC Show. Enjoy the rest of your day. And always remember,
It's a great day to move.